How can I get over this pain? I remember crying to God, like, this hurts so much. I do not want to forgive this man. I want to hate him forever. I saw comments where people thought they could judge me based on a 4-minute video. They figured, oh yeah, I summed her up. There were people calling me bitter, and people said, oh, there's no way you forgave him and you did that. Vengeance belongs to God. Forgiving someone does not mean you cannot expose him. That does not change the fact that little girls need to be saved from him. That does not mean that I will not continue to expose this man. It doesn't mean that others like him do not deserve to be exposed. Hey lovies, welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Shan. If you're watching this video, chances are you're here from TikTok, so you might have seen the post. If you haven't, then I will insert my TikTok name right here so you can check it out. I thought about just posting that video and not explaining myself, not adding anything to it, but based on what happened after I posted it, I felt like it is my duty somewhat to clarify a couple of things, to maybe explain isn't the word because I don't feel the need to explain myself to anyone, but there are people that I know have follow-up questions, and I read a couple of comments where people said, hey, we need a backstory, etc. If you are a regular here, then you might have seen me share my testimony before, where I went somewhat into detail about what happened when I was a little girl, how my stepfather molested me, and the abuse that I went through as a child. It took me only 28 years. And I know for some people, they might think, well, it's such a long time ago. Why would you come out now? I could not do this years ago because I was still hurting badly. I felt like I was still damaged. I had so much hate, so much anger, so much resentment and unforgiveness that there was no way I could have shared my story in that way. Quick backstory, quick summary for those who might have not seen the post or might not know me. I got a phone call from a family member of mine some time ago saying my then stepfather was on TikTok preaching. Prior to this, I would have heard that he's back in the church. There's nothing wrong with going in the church because we're all sinners. We're all born sinners. And so the church is the right place to go. However, what bothered me was the sequence of events. It triggered me because he's done this before. Prior to going into this new church of his, he was arrested, charged, in jail, got bail, went into the church. So I was like, are we really saved this time or are we hiding again? Years ago, 2009 to be exact, September the 4th, we went to court. The Sunday before that, this man presented himself at my childhood church and he was bawling and begging for the pastor and the assistant pastor at the time to tell me not to bring up the sexual abuse in court. Now, at the time, we were going to court because I had injured him. So I was charged for unlawful wounding and something else. I was charged because I wounded him after years of abuse. He attacked me and right. Now we're going to court and they start asking questions. And that's when I was like, okay, let's just get it out. This man has been sexually abusing me, verbally, physically abusing me ever since I was a child. This man came into my life when I was about 3.5 years old. My father died when I was 1 year old. I cannot speak for my mother. I do not think that she did due diligence. I don't think she did what she was supposed to do as far as knowing who you're getting involved with. However, I cannot blame her because who would have known that this man was a monster? It's not exactly like people walk around with a stamp on their forehead, right? I have made mistakes before where I chose the wrong partner, regardless of the reason. You find out later and it is what it is. The physical abuse started pretty early. I have vivid childhood memories of abuse that I don't even want to get into all the details, but this started early. I'll tell you point blank period, this man was never a good person. He's a good pretender. He's a really good manipulator. He's a narcissist. There's not one thing that I can say, okay, well, he was good with that. Nothing. He wasn't good to anyone at home. He was abusive to my mother. He was abusive with my brothers. But again, that's not my story to tell. Maybe they do not want to disclose that, so I'll leave it. The sexual abuse started when I was 6 years old. I do not want to go in details because that's not what this is about. Again, you can go and watch the video of my testimony and you'll hear more. At this time, he was still active in the church that we were attending at the time. On Sundays, I would sit there and question the church, like question everything about the church, because they would give him the microphone to pray to bless the service. And I was sitting there like, bless the service. You're here praying for the preacher. You're here praying over the devotion, everything. That's crazy. He was so holy and sanctimonious in front of everyone. You would be surprised. That man had a voice. Can we bless the Lord? Hallelujah. If you watch the TikTok video, that's who he's been for years. I watch this continue again. While this is happening, the physical abuse is still happening. He's still like the worst husband that a woman could have. I blame the church a lot for what happened, but I forgave them also because I learned that they're just human beings in a building. I watched as my mother tried to walk away and they gave her the speech, what the Lord put together, let no man pull asunder. Well, let me tell you, there are some marriages that God did not put together. God wasn't even there when you picked the person. They broke up, they got back together, and I had him to deal with. I had this man to deal with throughout my teenage years, and he got like really aggressive towards me. I guess as I was getting older, I wasn't saying much like to tell other people what was happening. However, I was a bit more aggressive, and so he got more angry because obviously now I'm not a 6-year-old girl. The threats that you would have made to me when I was 6, they're going to hit differently when I'm 14, 15 years old. I was either 16 or 17 years old when this happened. Let's go back forward. He came to the church and he's begging. At this point, this was the first time that he admitted to what he did. At first, he was like, I want you to talk to her because she's planning on going to court to lie on me. Meanwhile, the only way he knew this was because for the first time I stood up to him. I said, when I go to court, I'm telling them everything. He comes to the church and he's like, she's gonna lie on me. And I'm like, well, if I'm gonna lie on you, like, why are you worried? Let the judge decide that. It was at that point where he's like, yeah, this did happen, but that's not what we're going about right now. Long and short of the story is they gave me the whole speech. God is merciful and we should forgive and don't bring that up. Obviously, protecting the child molester like so many people do in Jamaica. We see it all day, every day, right? Protect the child molester, protect the rapist, protect the abuser, and then the victim just, I don't know, just live with it like everyone else has. I guess we've gotten so used to it. Like the statistics show that it's so common that even women who've experienced some form of molestation, sexual assault, they will tell little girls to just be quiet and move on. Men who do these things support men who do these things. Men who don't still support men because they're lying on them, right? However, a report was made to the Child Development Agency way back in the years. And I say that because if you're watching this and you are a victim of his, I want you to know that if you go to report it, you should mention the fact that this didn't just pop up overnight. Okay. If they go back 18, 19 years ago, they'll find the report that I made and I went in great detail as to when it started, what happened and all that. I think it was like a 3-page report for your information if that's why you're here. For a couple of years of my adult life, I lived in shame. I lived with anger, with resentment. I went through the different stages because there's a thing that is attached to a woman admitting that they went through some things, whether it is that they had any part to play in it, but there's the shame that society puts on us. Like you think that people are going to look at you differently. You think that people are going to judge you, like no one will love you, like people will think you're dirty, you're damaged. I went through all that. I went through the hate and it finally got to a point where I knew that I needed to return to the church. I had been hurt so much, by the way. There was just so many things on top of things that I was like, you know what, to hell with the church. But then eventually I knew that God was calling me back. And so I went back to the church. This time I realized that there was no way I was going to serve God and not forgive him. I mentioned in that video that I forgave him and people are like, I don't know how you did that. I could never. The truth is I did not want to. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. I did not want to forgive that man. If you ask me, I felt like I had a right to hate him him until the day I died. But I realized that it wasn't about how I felt, it was about what was right. There was no way I was going to expect God to forgive me for all the things that I do, for all the things that I continue to do. I knew that there was no way I was going to be able to tell people about having a deep rooted relationship with Jesus Christ, knowing that in my heart I had unforgiveness. It took me a while. It took me, I would want to say, I had to go through the deliverance, okay? My first pastor that I had when I went back into the church, one Sunday he called me up, and I remember that man looking me in the eyes and he said, God has so much for you to do. I want you to take your testimony from the enemy. And he looked at me and he said, you need to forgive. When I tell you that was rough, that was rough. Like, I don't think I can explain to you how I felt that day.
This is the temple of the true and living God. Father, I declare that your daughter's innocence will be made afresh right now in the name of Jesus. I don't even care what the therapists have said. The Lord says the greatest therapy you could ever receive is the one that flows from His Spirit. So even now, I see that breaking happening, and it's coming through that F word called forgiveness. Jesus. Jesus. That's it, woman of God. Just let it go. It's hard, but you can't. Yes, it's hard, but you can. This cry represents the cry of so many women sitting in here this morning. Let it go. I believe in you. The enemy is mad because he should have destroyed you, but you're still standing.
Going through that, like I could feel a burning in my belly because I knew that was the thing that was holding me back. That was the thing that was keeping me from really connecting with God. It didn't happen overnight. It took me a while, and I had to keep asking God, like, search my heart, show me where I need to fix, show me what I need to do. How can I get over this pain? I remember crying to God, like, this hurts so much. I do not want to forgive this man. I want to hate him forever. I saw comments where people thought they could judge me based on a 4-minute video. They figured, oh yeah, I summed her up. There were people calling me bitter, and people said, oh, there's no way you forgave him and you did that. And people telling me vengeance belongs to God and the whole works. To that, I would say this. Forgiving someone does not mean you cannot expose him. Vengeance belongs to God. That is true. That does not change the fact that little girls need to be saved from him. That does not mean that I will not continue to expose this man. It doesn't mean that others like him do not deserve to be exposed. Hey, you can be forgiven by God. For all I know, he could really have surrendered his life. It does not mean I'm not going to do my part in protecting the human race, okay? My God-given job was to expose this man. I didn't just get up and make that post. To the people who got into my DM, and I remember one person said, God will silence you for telling lies. I will tell you right now, do not waste your time. Do not waste your energy, because I am the wrong person to go up against. Here's the thing, the God that I serve, the one that I serve that died on the cross, when he sends you to do something, he sends help. So the minute he sent me to do it, he already sent 10,000 angels with me. So your little words in the DM and your little comments and deciding who I am and deciding how I should have done it differently, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your energy. I know who sent me, and I know why it needed to be done. As a result of me posting this video, there are so many women that got into my DM to share their story, to say they have been living with this hate, this resentment, this feeling for years. They have shared that they've been molested by fathers, uncles, church members, pastors, and the list goes on. There are so many women who commended me for using my voice in a world that women are taught to be silent. So many victims have applauded me for speaking out against something that so many women in the world have to deal with daily. And so if I have 1,000 women say, thank you for using your voice, thank you for allowing God to use you, thank you for exposing this man, man so we can now be on the lookout for him and protect little girls. Do you think I'm going to be bothered by Jamaican men in the comment section or in my DMs? It makes them feel like, wow, exposing one is exposing all. But for me, justice for one is justice for all. Speaking for one is speaking for all. And so I don't mind. I don't mind you being mad at me. I don't mind you thinking that I could have gone about this another way. I assure you, I did exactly what I was supposed to do. I will say this. I understand that there are a lot of women and a lot of girls who feel fearful, who fear retaliation, who think my family will be mad at me, and all these things are justified, and I understand. And I will never ever tell anyone to do something that they don't feel comfortable with, to do something that might pose a threat on their lives. As for me, I have no fear. I have nothing to fear. The most important thing to me was that my mom was very much aware of what was happening. My daughter is also very aware. I even let her watch the video before I posted it. So I did what I was supposed to do to protect the people closest to me. Anyone who knows me personally, they know my story. And so this wasn't new to them. This wasn't news. As for people who might be mad at the way I went about it, I say I'm sorry that you feel that way, but I'm not sorry that I did what needed to be done. So if you're still living in silence, if you're still dealing with the depression and the hurt and the anger, and you're still dysfunctional because of things that happened to you, I encourage you to seek therapy, talk to someone, try to make your way through it. Self-sabotaging and going through this life feeling unworthy, feeling like you're damaged goods is not the answer. It is time for you to get up and take your power back, regardless of what that looks like. It might look like exposing someone like I did, but it might look like taking care of yourself, treating yourself like someone you love. I know it's hard to forgive the person that did this to you. The thing about unforgiveness is, for as long as you do not forgive and you hold that person in your heart, they have power over you. So they get to maintain that power for years. It's almost like the abuse continues until you get to that place. I really hope that I was able to shed light to provide clarity. Thank you. Thank you so much for meeting me in this space. If you're listening in on Amazon, on Spotify, Apple, or Audible, go ahead and hit follow. And if you are on my channel for the first time, do not leave without subscribing, hitting the notification bell, and sharing with a friend. I truly hope that you got something from this video, and I look forward to having you in the next one. Bye.